Thank you, Marisa, and congratulations on your presentation. I'd like to invite now Julia Ramanda Lucca Teixeira. She will be presenting a poster assessment of the activity of the anti-PBP2a monoclonal. I don't know how you can pronounce these words, swear to God. In Portuguese, it would be difficult. In English, it's almost impossible. Antibody from methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus against Enterococcus SVP. Good morning. She's speaking too far from a mic. We can hardly hear what this lady is saying. Unfortunately, we do apologize in the English booth. We're going to be presenting the monoclonal activity of Staphylococcus resistant to MRSA against Enterococcus. What we need to know is that the Enterococcus are bacteria, positive bacteria, and they're part of the microbiota, the human microbiota, and the environment, and also in animals, and they may cause infectious diseases and endocarditis, and these Enterococcus present an intrinsic resistance and the PBPs, the PBP5, Enterococcus and fecal Enterococcus too. And the Staphylococcus are also gram-positive bacteria and human commensals, and they're a part of 30% of the nasal cavity and 20% of the skin in healthy individuals. The Staphylococcus presents serious infections and superficial infections. They have sepsis, pneumonia, and endocarditis too. Methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus have a gene called backyard, and this gene will be responsible for providing intrinsic reaction to the class B of PBPs called PBP2a. Here, just to show you a list disseminated by the publicized by the WHO that talks about resistance to new antibiotics. The aureus and Staphylococcus is present in high priority, and this resistance against new antibiotics. About the antimicrobial resistance, it is a global characteristic. When you take the wrong antibiotics and when you don't treat the infection in the right way, the chances of a new strain cropping up or and disseminating to other organs increases the risk of the global crisis, and also new forms of resistance may spread through people, animals, and other goods as well. Here, this is just to show you a table in which the VRR vancomycin resistance to Enterococcus, the strains of Enterococcus that are most present, and the fecal Enterococcus that are the two main recent Enterococcus resistance to vancomycin. You see that fecalis Enterococcus are more present than the feces Enterococcus.
So this shows how the mechanisms shows the reactions. And the PBPs is an enzyme which does the biosynthesis of the wall of the cell, and this avoids from doing the biosynthesis of the cell. And this also, the Staphylococcus aureus has the MAC virus, and the constitutive gene of the allows the talking about resistance, a monoclonal therapeutic antibodies. They are important for therapies for cancer, autoimmune disease, and other infectious disease. Our group developed an antibody for monoclonal therapeutic and done by the hybridoma technology, and it's able to work with therapeutic and immunodiagnostics. Our study is that this monoclonal antibody will be able to have a great potential for the immunodiagnostics and immunotherapeutic. Our objectives are to characterize the binding of anti-MRSA PBP2 with the Enterococcus. So its first results, we have the expression, purification, and refolding of recombinant protein, where we expressed and we carried out 2 purification processes. So we have expressed and we chose the best tampon to make the purification. And after the process, we observed that our protein was localized in inclusion bodies. So we were able to purify the first one with a lot of urea, and we had a yield of 0.5 milliliters.
Já na segunda purificação, a gente
on the second purification, we did a releveling of the column where we took the urea before the dilution, and we had a yield of 0.7 per milliliter. As I mentioned before, our monoclonal gene is conserved, so it doesn't have much genic action, but the Enterococcus has this mutation presence. So we carried out an assessment to observe the antigen binding with these clones with the Enterococcus. So we were able to observe and assess that with these genes could be conserved, and we were able to bind with the clines, the CBP5 presenting polymorphisms. We also carried out a colorimetry assessment showing that the activity of PBP2a was able to bind with PBP5. And as a conclusion, we could obtain recombinant PBP5 as a control. We were also able to demonstrate that the antibody that binds to PBP2a was able to recognize PBP5 even with polymorphism, and that the dissociation coefficient has lower affinity with the monoclonal antibody, with the Enterococcus, than with the antibody, the monoclonal antibody. So this is it.